Yeah. Numero UNO, me and Drizzy like the Super Bowl, man. Then it big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl.
What's up, everybody? Today is a very important day, not only because Dragon Ball Sparking Zero they're probably going to release their release date in this upcoming Summer Games Fest. Unfortunately, I'm not able to react to it or stream to it, but when I do come back, I'll be down to stream and react to it in general. Most likely I'm going to see it when they drop it, but I'll like to start off the stream with going over it with you guys, how you guys feel about the Summer Games Fest. But I'm here to talk about Jade Shadows, which is Warframe's next upcoming update happening on June 18th. This game has surprised me in so many ways, and they're always like improving. So I want to show you guys why this update is so important. It's not one of the giant updates that we're getting in the future, the 1999 one, but it's still like a very important update because it's creating like the pavement for their future. For one, it's going to be a lore-based quest where it's going to be showcasing probably the lore behind Stalker. Now, it did say Zorus during the trailer, and I have no idea how the Zorus relates to the Stalker. All I can say is that the Zorus was like the Corpus weapon used to fight off the creatures in the Granum Void. So it's like, how does Protea and Parvus Granum relates to the Stalker? But we'll find out. On top of that, one of Jade's weapons description says to counter the dread. So it's like, does Jade and Stalker have some type of yin-yang, good and evil relationship? But moving forward, this quest will be about Stalker. We'll get to play as him, just like how you get to play as him in the Deviri Paradox. But on top of that, you must complete the new war before you can have access to this quest. Speaking of Jade, we are getting the new Warframe, which is an awesome Warframe based off of a biblical angel concept. I think they're called seraphim. So basically they look like I forgot to put a picture in here, but they look like during the end days, I think they would describe the angels looking like just wings and eyeballs everywhere. But at the same time, if you look at the name Seraphim, or I feel like I'm butchering this name. Let me type it. Cephalim, right? Yeah, it's a celestial or heavenly being originated in ancient Judaism. The term plays a role in Christianity, Islam. What is the seraphim in the Bible? Six-winged beings that fly around the throne of God crying, holy, holy, holy. These angels have like that root word where it relates to Sephiroth. So if you guys didn't know, that Sephiroth is, the one-winged angel, but his final form kind of originates with that lore as well. So you can see how it's cool how Warframe is incorporating so much of this history, or these how in depth they get into their design. So it's really awesome to see that. It also gives me like excitement for what future concepts they can incorporate. But moving forward, Jade has 4 abilities. We have Light's Judgment. Now this is where she throws like an AoE field that can heal allies, but it also damages enemies. I believe it casts I don't know if it's called blessings or something like that, but enemies are going to be affected by some type of side effect. You are able to throw 3 of these out, so it's pretty cool ability. Next ability, we have Symphony of Mercy. This one is awesome because you utilize 3 boosts, kind of like how Titania, Vauban, Warframes that can alternate between 3 buffs. But okay, so we have one that's called Power of the Seven. Now if you don't know who the Power of the Seven is, or the Seven, they are like the Orcans that were assassinated. I feel like they were assassinated. Some of them fled, like Ballas was one of them. I have a whole Warframe lore video that goes over it, but Yeah, the power of the 7 is referenced to that, but you gain a 30% ability strength when you utilize that. I don't know if it gives it to your allies, but you are able to use these abilities and switch to the next boost, and they'll stack. Deathbringer is the second alternative buff that you can rotate, which gives the allies or the whole team weapon damage increase up to 100%. Then we have the third buff called Spirit of Resilience, where it increases your shield regeneration by 25%. If you kill enemies affected by blessings, you will get to extend the song durations, so that's cool. On top of that, you have your third ability called Ophanium Eyes. Now, you stare at the enemies and they get slowed. At the same time, you also armor strip them, so this ability is super broken. And then the fourth ability is called Glory on High, which allows you to just take flight and fly in the sky. Enemies that are affected by your blessings, I believe when you hit them, they'll start causing explosions. The more that they're affected by, the stronger the explosions, but it's pretty cool. I think you also shoot down like some Jade light, so it's a very cool concept. On top of, I even believe that's her exalted weapon, so not only is she getting 3 weapons, she has her own exalted weapon, so it's pretty cool to see how we get to mod this item. Her like little perk though is that she gets 2 aura mod slots plus her Exilus mod slot, so she has 3 of them up there. Her 3 weapons that we are getting is called the Evensong, which is the bow. This bow, okay, all of these descriptions, the dev said that some of them, or maybe most of them, they are going to change later, so they're wrong, but they could be lying, but I just wanted to state what those descriptions of these weapons were, just so you have a clear idea of what type of side boost they can get. Plus, it'll be cool to compare it to the changes that we get after the update's actually out. So for the Evensong bow, it says that enemies that, as you pierce more enemies with the bow, you're going to empower everybody with multi-shot boost. So that's very broken. So the Kanter are throwable kunais that can return back to the user, but when they're returning, the more enemies you hit on the way back to your hand, the more magazine size you're going to increase for your squad. And then next we have Harmony, which is to counter hate. So the Harmony Scythe is their perk is like, if you heavy attack, if you see an enemy that is open for a mercy kill, if you just do your heavy attack, it will instant kill it. And then it also increases your melee range the more you kill enemies like that, so that's cool. Next, we're getting a new Ascension game mode. This game mode is like kill enemies, defend the objective, then move towards this elevator, where they wanted to move towards like a vertical gameplay format. So you kill the enemies on the elevator, you throw these capsules into the sides of the elevators that can raise it. You can lower and get lower in the elevator if you are probably not doing the mission right, so it's going to be important to calculate with your teammates, and then be aware of the Jade light, because that is something that can spawn in the mission that can it looks like if you're in it too long you can die. So it's pretty cool that they are making it like this. It's kind of similar to like the Eidolons when the lights come down in that 3rd stage. Next, we're getting another clan event. Last time we had Gargoyle's Cry. This time we're getting Belly of the Beast. You can obtain the Signa from the last clan event in case you missed out, which is cool. This event is going to offer new resources. We'll be getting evolving ephemeras with this certain clan event. So as we reach a milestone as a community, the ephemera that we have will continue to evolve. I'm sure we can choose which steps of the evolution we want, like the Protovera ephemera, but that's another amazing item we can get. You can also get some arcanes. Now, due to health, the game this time they placed a cap on how many arcanes you can get this time. So you only could get a maximum of like 2 R5 arcanes this time around, just to protect yourself from gaming burnout, as well as health issues. I believe with this quest, I don't know if it's from the same clan event, but it could be from the shop where you can get Jade's parts and her weapons, but you can also gain the hate skin, which is like a Jade iteration of it. So it looks pretty cool. I kind of want to see if there's a lore behind that skin, like maybe Stalker helps Jade and she empowers his weapon. I don't know, but it does look very nice. So it's cool that they showed love to the hate. Going over it, we're getting to some techie stuff. I try to explain it into simpler terms for a lot of new players, so you can understand the new changes that are coming with these update. Starting with the status changes, they are making the game more like, I would say, Pokemon, but don't take it too like seriously. But they are making it to where that they're giving their enemies more characteristics and diversity, so that when you start missions, it'll be more easier for you to understand what the enemy's weaknesses are, as well as so you can build multiple loadouts that kind of utilize the strengths and weaknesses of the enemies. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been like handhelding new players in like this passive way. Like, they dropped Dante, right? The new Warframe. Dante has a passive skill with his Noctua that can instantly scan enemies into the codex. So they're already quietly helping players get familiar with enemy weaknesses so that they can get better at the game. This is just one of those extra steps for everything. Actually, it'll be cool because we already see content like the Albert Autretti labs, where corrosive and radiation are like the top key elements that we like to use. We already been familiar with using viral and toxin for almost many enemies, but now they're kind of like bringing that concept of the late game that we're in towards the rest of their game. So I'm sorry that I felt like I went off a tangent, but I just wanted to explain that in case there were people that were upset when Pablo's says status changes, or if they hear change Warframe. It's not going to be bad, trust me. It's actually going to make you want to utilize more weapons and create more builds, so it's pretty cool. Blast, on the second hand, is getting an update. So now that when you deal your initial blast damage, the enemy inflicted by the blast, I don't know if they said once it hits 10 stacks or just after a while, it would cause a secondary damage that would go based off of the initial first hit. And on top of that, if the enemy dies, I think it spreads to nearby enemies, so that can also happen to them. So that's also very well for that element. Next, we have magnetic. This one, usually when you use magnetic damage, I would talk about in my builds to use it to help destroy corpus shields a lot quicker for new players. But then there's toxin that bypasses their shields and just hurts their health in general. It doesn't really work well for robots, but it just goes past their health, so it kind of makes magnetic a little pointless. But the thing is, they're going to improve it by saying magnetic can also work on overguard too. So enemies with overguard, like the Eximus enemies, can now be damaged more with magnetic weapons. And then if you break their overguard with the magnetic weapons, or if just enemies with overguard and shields, if they do get broken, is going to cause a base electric proc onto that enemy. When I heard that, I was thinking of melee influence, because if you have melee influence, you need to use a melee weapon to trigger an electric proc that has a 20% chance that can spread to a bunch of enemies. So having this, I wonder if it's going to increase that chance of happening. So I'll be testing all of these out, trust me. Cold is also, I think cold been boosted before, where now at 10 stacks the enemies are becoming frozen. If that's not happening now, then that's coming with the Jade update. But with this code update, you know how you can get like crit chance increase on enemies that are frozen. They decided to do like a mini Frost rework to help him out. So his bubbles mode, where he creates a dome, you can now shoot enemies that are inside the dome, because people would say that you would only be able to shoot from the inside out, but now you can shoot from the outside in. His freezing is actually real cold proc now. They used to do like a different animation before these updates of Frost using his ice moves, but they're saying that wasn't really cold proc because he wasn't getting the bonus, like the crit damage bonus with it. So now they're kind of throwing that bootlegged Frost out the way, or that freeze animation, and he's going to actually be dealing cold damage now, cold damage now that can it would freeze the enemy still, but you would now have that backup critical damage for your Frost. and your armor increases based off of how much enemies that are infected by the affected by the cold proc. Another thing is that enemies that used to be frozen back then, if you did like a move like Almighty Pull, it wouldn't move them. They would just be stuck in place. Now abilities that can do some type of enemy manipulation like that, frozen enemies can be moved as well. So if you use like Sevagoth, if you use who pulls them towards them? I was gonna say Necros, but that's not it. Someone does like Mag, right? Yeah, Mag pulls them towards them. So stuff like that, it could be affected, or freeze enemies can be affected by that. And the next thing is that we'll have Ureli Deluxe. Pretty cool skin. It's not, it's pretty cool because it's different, but I'm not really a fan of it. I like it. It does remind, I'm not a fan of it, but I do like it. But it does remind me of World of the Worlds. And I was thinking this when I was watching this live stream live, and I think one of the devs even said it too. Like, it gives them that feel with the head. We're also getting Tenogen Wave 2 skins, so they're bringing a lot of cosmetics for your Drifter / Operator as well as Warframe. This includes like an Equinox helmet and a cool Lavos like alchemy skin, so I'll be excited for that. And then we're getting new Augment mods. Now I wanted to break this up because Augment mods, bro, they changed the game. They changed the Warframe, and these Augment mods bring 4 Warframes to the OP table. They were already broken, but now it's cool that they have more utility. Protea Augment utilizes her guns, so now she can still shoot, like throw out 2 guns, but with this Augment you would hold one with you, and that gun can stay with you as long as you have temporal anchor out. So when you do your 4th, if you have high duration and high strength, you technically can carry that gun out wherever you want. You can just walk around and is shooting the fire blast. And so that's crazy. I have a broken video coming out for Protea soon too, probably after this Augments drop. But Sevagoth is the next Warframe. So would now enemies affected by So, when they die, it's going to spread to more enemies. Now I just figured out how to do the AoE blast kill thing with Sevagoth, right, with Sow and Reap. That makes that move combination a lot more broken, almost like how they did with Citron, where they increased the range of like enemies killed by those crystals would spread the crystals. So same thing, same concept. Also the shadows, when you're using Death Harvest, it can inflict Sow on enemies to help you spread that proc. The Goth, her augment would immediately put you into the spirit form, granting you that critical damage, critical chance increase, as well as your attacks will have 100% chance to apply the Doom effect on enemies. So there's moves that she has. I believe her first move, like the blades, deals more damage to enemies affected by Doom. So that works hand in hand with that. Also, kills you get outside of the spirit form would now decrease your cooldown wait time for you to utilize this move again, so making her even more broken. Corvette strips 50% armor now with his wall move, and it strips the shields as well. If you hit 5 enemies with this move, now you can reset the timer on your pillars. So I think maximum is 2 pillars right now for Corvex. So once you showed out, it's like, if you guys are good with Gara, it's like that. So with Gara, she has like this shard glass move that rotates around her, and the more enemies that are inflicted by her 4th ability with the wall, when you break the wall, it would increase the damage of those shards that rotate around her. But the thing is, those shards they're on a duration. So when it gets to like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, all you have to do is just make sure your 4th is up, and you shoot another glass shard into it to break the wall, and it resets the timer for that ability. So they're doing that same concept with Corvex. We're also getting some new decrees, which is pretty cool. I think there's more than what they're showing us here. We're getting some more arcanes. I had to explain this for you guys because some of this is even broken. One of them is where you gain energy based off how much armor you got, so that's super good. Then we have one that says like you gain a cap of like 40% strength and 40% duration on enemies that you froze. And then there's one that for every 200 energy you get 1 times crit or damage multiplier, and it caps at 8 times. So that's going to be interesting on what numbers we can get with that. And then the next one, if an enemy is affected by any status effect and you do something that knocks them off their feet, then they will gain 6 stats. I don't know if it's by a melee weapon. It might be by a melee weapon. So if the enemy gets knocked off their feet, that status effect will get increased by 6. They're doing a new update where you can share your fashion frame. I don't know how you can get your fashion frame up there. I believe with the Jade one, they're just doing the devs for the moment, but then they're going to start incorporating the community later on. But you can now, like, say you don't know how to dress your Warframe, you can just choose from the bottom right corner and click on like the fashion feature, and if you like that fashion feature for your Warframe, you can apply it. It also shows you if you don't own the items and customization items, it'll show you where you can buy it right then and there with platinum. So that's pretty cool. New players are now getting a quality of life change. So if you still haven't tried out Warframe yet, now they just made it even better. They're still thinking about the players who haven't played yet. You get to customize your Warframe in the beginning of the game, compared to just using the basic look that we do until you get to your ship. You can also change your loadout. You'll be able to change your loadout in your orbiter. So, when you're at navigation. So when you're changing your missions, you don't have to walk all the way back just to change your loadout again in case you missed one minor detail. So that's cool that they're adding that. The Undercroft is going to start giving us some pathos clamps so that we can craft more of our incarnate weapons, because I know people might not want to do the whole Deviri experience, but it's still pretty cool. It's still good to like fight the Oro Worm, but now they're giving more options to get these pathos clamps. Enemy AI is increasing for players like me that plays on PlayStation 5. So if you play on next gen consoles, they are going to increase how many enemies are going to be in the game. There seemed to be a lackluster of the enemy count compared to the PC version, so they're placing a cap on how many adversaries you can get. Adversaries are the Nemesis system, like your Kuva Lich and your Tenet Sisters. They don't want you to have like an overload of the data bank in your history, because I guess, for example, Pokemon can only play so many Pokemon in their games because they are functioning on a Switch, and they have to pick and choose. So they're kind of like doing that with the Tenet Sister and the Kuva Lich, because they realize how many we can get. I think they said someone was already at the most was at 190. I'm pretty up there. I got a good amount, but not too crazy. So now there'll be a cap on how many. It's pretty fine. This only affects players who care about like showing off records, I guess. And then if you like to save your liches and use them as your teammates, I guess that affects those players too. But I don't know how you can be undecisive when you will have more than 60 options to choose from. So they're placing that. I think it's cool because they're setting up the game. Like, I want you guys to look at these steps and updates that they're doing as hints on what they're going to do for the future. They're setting the road work for more adversaries to be into the game, whether they're the infected liches. Well, 100% we're getting infected liches soon, but then what about the road for future liches? Like, what if we're getting sentient liches or blah blah blah, like more adversaries in the future? So they're just making sure that there's a cap on it, that it's controllable in case they wanted to expand on that. Necromechs are going to get easier to farm this season after this update. So people that are struggling with that, stay tuned. You'll get some help once that update drops. Then we have the finisher animations are getting polished. So there is an animation that when you're behind the enemy, it'll say like but I guess, yeah, they're just making it more visible for players. Ember heirloom is also another thing they showcased that's coming out with this update. So Ember Prime, right? No, Excalibur Prime. The concept with Excalibur Prime, the exclusivity, basically if you have the heirloom frost skin and the heirloom mag skin, you are almost in that same category with Excalibur Prime players, because they wanted to bring back that exclusivity pack, I guess, to increase that value for players who invest into it. But the thing is, it caused a lot of stuff in the community. I honestly was fine with it, but at the same time, people were upset. Maybe the price, the price is way too high. But the same thing is that they advertised it as something being limited, like they won't sell it again after they sold it during this time period, and people didn't like that. They were going to get locked out of being able to get it. I mean, Pokemon does it. I mean, they do bring certain stuff back, but Pokemon, they do events where you can only get that thing once, and I'm telling you guys, like, it gives so much value to that item. So it makes the items in the game more better because they actually have value to them, you know. So I see why they did that initially, and I see why they're doing the changes, because they do care about their community. So moving forward, Ember Prime or Ember Heirloom will be accessible in the market for Platinum if you did want to get her anytime during the game. It is based off of fan art, so any of my fan art tennos out there, don't lose hope. If you do like creating Warframe designs, drop them in the Warframe Discord. Hopefully one of the community members will pick it up, and you might be that next person they buy the art from. You never know. Glaive Prime would be coming back. That means Ember Prime is going to be popping up in the Prime Resurgence event. So Glaive Prime is a very good weapon. Glaive Prime, okay, look it. Glaive Prime is good because the glaive is the only weapon that has a prime variant to it. The Falcor is awesome. The Orpheus is awesome. The Zorus must have and keep it. Do not delete it. The Cetra is awesome. All of these glaives are awesome. So there's not really like, don't be afraid if you don't have the Glaive Prime. But just know that it is a good weapon, the glaive in general, like weapons that are throwable and explosive, and they all could be made broken. But if you do not have a weapon like that, and you want an easier way to access a weapon like that, this would be your time to farm for it. I'm near the end of this. I'm sorry to drag it out too long. I wanted to be quick with this one, but they did show a lot in this update. I wanted to end it off with saying that TennoCon is going to be on July 20th. I will be live streaming both Jade Shadows on June 18th as well as TennoCon because I got the digital ticket. So we'll be chilling. I'll have my face cam meeting a bunch of you guys. We'll be playing games together until they drop that live stream in which we'll react, we'll cry, we'll laugh, we'll be shocked together. So it's going to be a fun day. So I'll be streaming all of it. They will be doing their first ever Soulframe dev stream. I'm waiting on my Steve. I'm waiting on my key, bro. Just send me, email me, bro. Just text me on YouTube, comment in something on one of my videos. Just let me know if I can get a key. But Soulframe will, start doing their dev streams soon. But they're gonna do their first one at this TennoCon. That was it. So that was a lot to swallow. Pause for this update that's coming out. I'm excited. You can see why now this update is doing so much. Not only that, there was some other stuff that I didn't really get to mention, like lighting updates is coming, so graphic changes are happening as well as UI changes. So they're doing the quick menu is going to be accessible in many parts of the game now instead of just your orbiter. Like there's just a bunch of extra seasonings that is coming with this update. But like always, thank you guys for watching throughout this entire video. I appreciate you guys' time and just showing support. But thank you guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. If you guys are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe so you guys can be updated on any Warframe news as well as just some good gaming content if you want to check out my non-Warframe videos. But like always, keep up the grind, be safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.